How's it going, everyone? This is the George here, and today we are continuing the Transformer review series leading up to Transformers Rise of the Beast with Transformers Age of Extinction. We have gotten to this point of the Transformer franchise. This is the fourth film directed by Michael Bay, which, because this film goes in a different direction, most of the characters from the previous films are not in this film. I know none of the human characters from the previous films are in this. It's basically Optimus, Bumblebee, as far as Transformer characters go, and a couple of others from the previous films that are in here. I would think, though, at this point in the franchise, they would get somebody new to direct, but they got Michael Bay to return to direct. And instead of starring Shia LaBeouf this time around, it stars Mark Wahlberg as Cade Yeager, this single, overprotective father who is a struggling inventor, and he finds this crappy truck, which turns out to be a wounded Optimus Prime, and he helps repair and take care of Optimus Prime. But the CIA rogue operatives find out, and them, along with this bounty hunter named Lockdown, go to take in Optimus. But Optimus and the family escape, and Optimus reunites with the few remaining Autobots that have yet to be hunted down, and we got our Transformers movie. Now, with Transformers Age of Extinction, I will say I do enjoy this film slightly more than Revenge of the Fallen because it feels like there are a lot of promising ideas in this film. The idea of the Transformers being hunted down by a Transformer bounty hunter, which I think was actually handled well. I thought Lockdown was one of the better Transformer antagonists in a movie. The idea that rogue CIA operatives are also helping him. I will say Kelsey Grammer was a way better human villain than Patrick Dempsey's character in Dark of the Moon, so they definitely improved there. Kelsey Grammer gave a very good performance. Mark Wahlberg as Cade Yeager, I thought was also very good. I think Mark Wahlberg was definitely one of the bright spots of this film, and I had no problem with Sam Witwicky in the previous three films. I thought Shia LaBeouf gave decent performances. I actually liked his performances in the first and third film quite a bit. But yeah, I think Mark Wahlberg is an upgrade over Sam Witwicky. But his presence is missed. Like there are some characters that their presence are missed, not just Sam Witwicky's. Lennox and Epps, who Josh Duhamel and Tyrese Gibson played. I miss their presence as well. But yeah, I think as far as like the human characters go, uh, think Mark Wahlberg and Kelsey Grammer gave the best performances as far as the actors go. Um, Kate Yeager's daughter, played by Nicola Peltz, who was in that bad Avatar Last Airbender film, her performance wasn't terrible. Like it did come across as cringe at times, but it wasn't terrible. But in my opinion, compared to Megan Fox and Rosie Huntington Whiteley's performances from the first three films, it's definitely a downgrade. I'll get more into the human characters when I get into the negatives. I will also say that Optimus Prime, we get a lot more Optimus in this film, it feels like, and that's always a plus for me. And the Autobots, while the Autobots have their banter back and forth, I like that the Autobots at least have more dialogue this time. That's good to hear. I like the character Hound, although he probably should have been called Bulkhead because he looks more and acts like Bulkhead from the Transformers animated and Transformers Prime cartoon. But Hound was a pretty cool character. He had a really cool moment in the final battle. The soundtrack's still very good. I like the theme for Lockdown, and it feels like at least like there's like like it's not all over the place. The plot like Revenge of the Fallen was like Revenge of the Fallen was all over the place, and again that was probably due to the writer's strike. But yeah, like there were some things I did like in this film, but there are a lot of things that I also didn't like in this film. And I think one of the things I'll definitely say is that the tone, while the story is not all over the place, the tone is all over the place because at times it feels like this wants to be similar to Transformers Dark of the Moon and continue that darker tone that the second half of Dark of the Moon went with. But then it goes back to being like Transformers Revenge of the Fallen with the cringe jokes, the weird things that were brought up in this film. For example, the boyfriend of Kate Yeager's daughter, Shane, played by Jack Renner. There's like this scene where like him and Kate Yeager have like a talk because Kate Yeager doesn't want his daughter dating anyone. And then when he finds out that this guy's 20 years old dating his 17-year-old daughter, there's this scene where they bring up the Romeo and Juliet laws and he carries a card. Like, why do we need this in a Transformers movie? Like, why? Who asked for this to be in a Transformers movie? Like, why not just make the daughter 18 or the boyfriend 17 like her? Just why? Why do we need this in a Transformers movie? And the boyfriend's a bit of a jackass as well. I sorry for saying that word, but it's true. Like he knows that Kate Yeager hates him because he doesn't want his daughter dating anyone in general. And then he like says like he bought mouthwash so he can kiss his daughter, and like it's like why you're just poking the bear at this point. And then like at times he screams like a girl, like freaking out. He tries to act all tough, and it's weird because he actually had a pretty cool like opening. This character he drives in and saves the Jaeger family from these CIA operatives. So it's like he had a cool setup, but then it's just no, he's just another crappy Michael Bay human character. Now, Stanley Tucci's also in the film as this character named Joshua, who runs KSI, this company that builds their own Transformers. And that's another promising, cool idea that could have been executed a whole lot better. And Stanley Tucci's a great actor, but it's like but he does a lot of screaming at times in this film, and it just feels like they wasted Stanley Tucci in this film. Now, I remember when Jeremy Johns did his review of Transformers Age of Extinction like almost 9 years ago. He said they tried making Stanley Tucci like John Turturro's character. No, they made him a whole lot worse. And that was another character that, while was pointless at times, I didn't mind that character. But yeah, Stanley Tucci kind of felt wasted. As far as like the human-made Transformers aspect goes, that would be a really cool idea, but it just wasn't executed all that well. Like there's Galvatron, who I guess Megatron reincarnated, and Frank Welker does a very good job voicing Galvatron. Like they bring Frank Welker back, Hugo Weaving didn't return, but it just kind of felt like why, especially when we know in Last Night, and I guess this is where this does not age all that well because in the Last Night, a few years later, he's just Megatron again. He's not even called Galvatron. Just why? And the way they transform, so it's very lazy because it looks like a screensaver when like they transform. It's like blue, like all these like blocks and like they're moving around, and it's like it felt like they didn't want to spend time animating or doing special effects work when it comes to them transforming the Transformers. And that's kind of dumb because we know they're going to make toys based off these characters and you're going to have to transform the toys. So just why not just like have like computer animation of them transforming? Just why have them like turn into these blocks like in between transformations? It just feels very lazy and it makes the special effects look worse than the ones from the previous three films. This is a movie that came out in 2014, and it makes the special effects work from the Transformers film from 2007 look a whole lot better. It just doesn't make sense. Another thing is the runtime. This is a over 2 hours and 40 minutes long, the longest of the Transformer movies. This is longer than I'm pretty sure most, if not all, the Harry Potter films, any of the Star Wars films, most of the MCU films, including Avengers Infinity War. Just what? Why did it have to be this long? There's another MacGuffin in this film. It's the seed. The formula. It's like at this point the formula is very cookie cutter, and I get there are times when it looks like they're doing new stuff in this film. Like the opening felt different this time around than the previous films. But then it just follows the same cookie cutter formula where like, humans are against Autobots, something happens in the second act, third act, big action fight. There's a MacGuffin. It's if you're going a different direction, stop following the formula. Try to do something different. And of course, there are the Dinobots. I was very excited when I saw the Dinobots were going to be in this film. I'm a huge fan of the Dinobots from the original cartoon. I love them in the Fall of Cybertron video game from 2012. Grimlock's one of my all-time favorite Transformer characters. The thing is, like at the beginning of the film, they're showing how like them turning all these dinosaurs in the area around the dinosaurs into liquid metal, and it's like, oh wow, this is really cool. But then like you have no hint of dinosaurs until later on in the film. It's like they save the Dinobots for the third act as like reinforcements. It just felt very lazy, and they don't even refer to the Dinobots as Grimlock, Slug, Swoop, Snarl, the classic Dinobot names. It's like the Dinobots would have been such a cool idea to have in this film, like maybe as like another group of Autobots that Optimus is trying to recruit that are also being hunted down, but the Dinobots just don't want to get involved. And like you see at one point like Grimlock challenging Optimus's position for leadership, and in the third act that's when they come together. Like that would have been a cool idea to do, but instead they're apparently prisoners on lockdown ship that Optimus doesn't think to rescue until the third act. And Optimus just feels so out of character. While I am glad we get more Optimus in this film, and Peter Cullen still does a very good job voicing Optimus, it just like Optimus is like full of anger. He threatens to kill humans when in the first film he says we don't harm humans and says they were no different from humans. It contradicts all of Optimus's previous beliefs on humans in the previous films. But like Optimus basically tells Grimlock, and we do find out that it is Grimlock based on the toy line and last night. He tells him, protect my family or die. It's like, this is the same guy that says freedom is the right of all sentient beings. And he's basically telling Grimlock, you're only going to get your freedom if you help protect my family. Just, that's so out of place. And yeah, Optimus does kill Kelsey Grammer's character during the final fight. And it's like, Optimus would never kill a human. It's just, at a certain point, the film becomes self parody and loses all the potential and serious stuff that it was building up. Again, I would definitely rewatch this over Revenge of the Fallen, but yeah, this film was pretty disappointing. Even though it had, a couple of good human performances, the Autobots do a lot more in this film than the previous films. We get more Optimus, we get a solid villain in Lockdown. That they took the villain from a side villain from Transformers Animated and made him into a really cool villain. But yeah, they had some ideas that sounded promising, but they just weren't executed well. I do like the song for Imagine Dragons in this film. Linkin Park didn't do a song for this film, but it was Imagine Dragons. They did Battle Cry, which I thought was a really good song and did fit the tone of the movie. But yeah, at this point, you should have just gotten a new director because you're going in a new direction. But I'm gonna give Transformers: Age of Extinction a C minus. There are a few decent things about this film, but overall disappointing. But I won't say it's the worst Transformers film because are some things I do like in this film. But overall, a messy film. What are your thoughts on Transformers: Age of Extinction? Did you like it? Did you hate it? And who do you prefer as a human protagonist in the Transformer films? Mark Wahlberg's character Cade Yeager or Shia LaBeouf's character Sam Witwicky? Let me know in the comments down below. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe already if you haven't. Please share us with someone that likes the Transformer movies or may dislike the Transformer movies at this point. And I hope to see you guys real soon. Take care, everyone.